It was a peaceful summer morning in 1960 when tragedy struck the Peterson family farm. Victor Hoffman, just released from a mental hospital, armed himself with a Browning pump-action rifle and entered the property with a deadly mission. In a matter of minutes, he mercilessly shot all but one of the Peterson family members, leaving behind a scene of horror that would haunt the community for decades. As the police later arrived at the scene, they found the lifeless bodies of 7 innocent children, aged between 2 and 17, and their parents. James Peterson was shot in the kitchen, while his wife Evelyn and their 1-year-old baby were discovered in the backyard. The other 6 children were cruelly taken while sleeping in their bedrooms. It was a massacre that shook the entire community to its core. Amidst the devastation, there was one glimmer of hope. Little Phyllis Peterson, just 4 years old, had miraculously survived the attack. She had been sleeping under the bedclothes between her 2 sisters and was unnoticed by Hoffman. Later on, when asked about why he spared her life, Hoffman chillingly said that she had the face of an angel. It was a chilling reminder of the evil that had just taken place. As news of the massacre spread, the police launched an extensive manhunt to find Hoffman, but it was not until days later that he was eventually apprehended. The Peterson family tragedy left an indelible mark on the community, with many struggling to comprehend how such a senseless act of violence could occur. The Peterson family massacre is a haunting reminder of the devastating impact that mental illness and unchecked violence can have on innocent lives. It is a story that still resonates with us today and serves as a stark warning of the dangers of not taking mental health seriously. The story of Victor Hoffman is one of those tales that send shivers down your spine. It's a terrifying reminder of how mental illness and untreated violence can combine to create a tragedy of unimaginable proportions. It all began on that fateful summer morning of August 15, 1960, when Victor Hoffman, just 21 years old and recently released from a mental hospital, entered the Peterson family farm with a .22 caliber Browning pump-action repeater rifle. Hoffman then proceeded to shoot all but one of the present members of the Peterson family, leaving behind a scene of devastation and horror that would haunt the community for years to come. Hoffman was eventually arrested on August 19, 1967, by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police without any resistance. He was found at his parents' home in Leask, about 65 kilometers, 40 miles southwest of Shell Lake. After his arrest, he told the police that he had fought the devil before the murders and described him as being tall, black, and having no genitals. It was clear that Hoffman was not in a sound state of mind when he committed the heinous act. During his trial, Crown Prosecutor Serge Kujawa called Hoffman the craziest man in Saskatchewan, a statement that would stick with him for years to come. He was eventually found not guilty by reason of insanity on non-capital murder charges in February 1968 and was sent to a mental institution in North Battleford for treatment. Despite being diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, Hoffman showed no remorse for the murders, even years after the fact. In fact, Canadian journalist Peter Tadman, who wrote a book about the murders in 1992 and had the chance to interview Hoffman several times, reported that Hoffman felt no guilt about the killings and still claimed to see the devil that compelled him to commit them. In December 2001, Hoffman was granted supervised access to the towns of Penetanguishene, Port McNicoll, and Midland in Ontario, much to the concern of the local residents. The decision was met with controversy, as the hospital was only required to inform the local police of Hoffman's release. It was clear that the scars of the Peterson family massacre were still very raw for many in the community, and the thought of Hoffman being released back into the world was a difficult one to accept. Ultimately, Hoffman died of cancer under custody on May 21, 2004. His story remains a haunting reminder of the terrible impact that mental illness and unchecked violence can have on innocent lives. It's a tale that will continue to send chills down our spines for years to come.